Hello everybody and welcome back to Silverrun. Now, why is this truck here? And why is there no trailer? Well, we had a little accident and as I was driving with the big Volvo tree transport thingy on the back of the gooseneck trailer, I was going around the corner and I suddenly heard a loud bang and then scrapes, and I realized that my springs have broken, and both rear springs were broken cleanly through, or both spring pegs. So more than one spring has broken, and it's basically yeah, a mess, a total mess. And I had to improvise, so I had to unload and um, had to get this truck home. So I took my little portable welder with me and I welded a big piece of angle iron across the springs. And now and then I was driving the truck home really, really carefully and slowly. So here it sits now. We obviously need new springs, and then the truck will be good to go, I hope. Some stuff has been a little bit damaged, but I don't think there's any major damage, just cosmetic damage, and the tires have a bit of scrubbing marks from hitting the lower bed, flatbed, and yeah, it wasn't the best situation, but I think it could have been much worse. But the big issue is that now I don't have a flatbed, and I had to get the Volvo over to the next loading spot somehow. So I had to drive it over there, and well, it's very slow. So that was well, it wasn't half the day. It took me half an hour or something like that, but it felt like forever. And yeah, now we are back to our Mack truck and driving the Mack truck back there, and then we will load the trees, hopefully, and we'll see what we do about the spring situation. Obviously, this little, I don't know, it's a 3/4 ton pickup or something like that. It's really a tiny pickup, so it shouldn't have hauled the gooseneck trailer at all, and especially not with all the heavy machinery I put on there. I mean, the Volvo wasn't the first one I loaded onto there. I transported quite a few things. I also transported a tractor once, so yeah. Unfortunate that it broke just right now, but there has been other stuff going on with the little pickup. I noticed that the mounting bracket, the mounting section of the frame, or the frame, it's not the frame itself, the pickup frame, and then on top is the frame for the bed, and between the frame for the bed and the pickup frame is a frame for the fifth wheel attacher, and I noticed quite a while back that it bent, and yeah, I think we shouldn't keep doing this. So where do I go from here? I think okay, it's only mud roads up there, so I really need to go around. Yeah, I really need down through town, because this won't work up here. Anyways, now I need to think about all the gears again. I forgot here. This is what I actually wanted to drive, so. Not that much faster because, well, engine brake and downhill, and I think we had that topic in the last episode that this is a really dangerous hill here, especially in winter with all the ice and stuff. If I start sliding here, obviously with the train down there, I can't stop, and that could be very bad. So now we need to not make the same mistake as we did last time. We really, I mean, there's nice road markings here, but with our big tractor trailer, we can't adhere to the road markings on such occasions. Yeah, back to what I was talking about. I was talking about the issues regarding our... that's the gear I was looking for. The issues regarding our pickup, I will buy new springs. Obviously, I could buy heavy-duty springs. I was thinking about putting heavier springs in to the pickup for a long time because it's really very soft sprung with the gooseneck trailer. But I think if we add heavier springs, something else will give. So either we will bend the actual frame of the truck, or the axle will break, or I don't know. It's not made. It's not made for these loads. So I think that was a kind of a warning sign to stop. So we will. I'm not sure what the alternative will be. So yeah, I think that's the right direction. Yes, that is the right direction. Sorry, I kind of had to, whoops, concentrate for the gears. Oh boy, English is difficult. It's not really. English is actually a very easy language to learn, I think. But yeah, it's difficult. So back to topic. Still on topic. We need a different mode of transportation for our heavy equipment. And I think the next best thing we could do is look for a low loader, or a, I don't know what the right term would be, for a flatbed trailer on to attach to this truck. I mean, we have enough horsepower to pull quite a big load. The only issue is if we want to transport our own equipment to a job site to load trees and then use this truck and the other trailer, we need to use the flatbed and move the equipment out, and we need to change trailers, and at the end we need to change trailers again. So this is a bit of a hassle, but I think that's the only option we have at this very moment. I could look for a better pickup truck, but obviously pickup trucks are rather expensive. I think it would be cheaper to get a low loader for this truck than to get a proper bigger pickup. At least some pickup in a decent condition without too much rust. I mean, we are not south here, we are very much in the north of the United States, and this right here is, well, there's a lot of salt, there's a lot of snow and a lot of ice, so trucks don't usually last that long, which means my pickup is really, it's kind of a survivor, and most pickups don't even last that long before they rust out. So finding a cheap pickup that is in good condition is almost impossible. Most cheap pickups are rusted through and have really bad frame rot, and obviously I can't really buy myself a pickup with a really rusty frame and then put a fifth wheel attacher on it and pull heavy load with it. It's the worst idea ever, so we are not going to do that. Yeah, so as for plans for right now, I'm going to look for a cheaper flatbed trailer for this truck, and maybe we will get another semi truck at some point. I think that would be better suited, so we don't have to couple trailers on and off all the time. Or we are going to look for a different solution, or we are stopping to do jobs like these where we have to load the trees on our own. But I actually do quite like this because we are kind of free in terms of what time we will do the job and how we will do the job, and loading trees is kind of fun, and it's also, I mean, I can earn more money like that, so I think I really enjoy this, but I did a horrible job parking, obviously. That was horrible. I hope nobody needs to go in there. Anyways, our logs are right there, not very far, so I think we are going to hop into our problem Volvo. It's just way too heavy, this thing, way too heavy for our small trailer. But I mean, it's kind of my fault, isn't it? So what's wrong now? Why don't... Oh, that's why the gears don't work. Always the same mistake. Oh no, oh no, no. I mean, I could at least try to keep it on the road. So there are all the trees. I don't think they will fit onto one load, but we'll see. And I think we're going to do a time lapse right now. I hope you enjoy the time lapse. And we'll be back in just a moment. Well, the trailer is loaded, but I think we did a much worse job than the last time. And last time I did already a really bad job, so yeah, that is that. I think a few straps will at least make sure the trees don't move, but yeah, I'm not sure how I could have messed this up so badly, but I did. I did. So the very first tree was kind of stuck between the rungs, and the best I could get it was just fling it over there, because it just wouldn't go over here, and I was losing grip of the tree, so I just let it go right there. So that's why this is separate in the middle. And since last time we tried to load all the trees in the middle and had huge issues because those are just too long for the middle two rungs. I wanted to load the trees in front and back, in the front and the back, but obviously I messed that one up too, because those kind of skidded to the front. So yeah, I'm kind of scared to drive this thing a bit, because it's very close to the cab, but we had no choice. We're going to drive the thing and start in 7th again. And obviously we need to make sure that we get out of here, but okay, there's traffic. Sorry. Really need the space. Sorry. Ooh. Well. At least now the truck can have a little bit of fun with all its horsepowers. The trailer is doing weird things again. I'm not sure. There's supposed to be improvements to the physics of well, trees and stuff apparently, but yeah, it's still very weird stuff happening. I mean, obviously the trees are glitching out right here. I don't know how this is even possible. I thought that stuff that is attached with the tension belts is attached and does not move. That's something that I don't know. I mean, that's a bug that we had all the way back in FS17. That stuff that was attached still moved sometimes, and I can't remember to have this issue in FS19 ever, and in the beginning of FS22 neither. But I didn't really use. Okay, now we're really messed up. That is probably the right gear here. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong here. The issue with the Volvo on the small trailer, now the locks on this trailer, I have no idea if it's collision issues, if the trailers are just bad. I mean, these are all mod trailers, but they're all from mod hubs, so they should in theory at least somewhat work, I think. If it's the trees, I mean, obviously I did a bad job loading them, but still, as soon as they're attached, they shouldn't start glitching out like that. I don't know what's wrong here. I really don't know. Maybe I messed something up. Maybe it's a mod conflict, although I don't really have many mods enabled. In fact, apart from the ones you see, I don't have anything enabled, so I don't know. It's really frustrating anyways. Loading was also very frustrating because, well, the trees were so close together that I really couldn't. Do you see what's happening? I mean, it's lifting the truck and all. I mean, why? Why is it doing that? Very similar issues to those I had with the gooseneck trailer. That as soon as I attached the Volvo loader onto the gooseneck trailer, it started glitching out and tipping to one side or the other and lifting the truck up and all kinds of stuff. I did some experiments off camera, and one time it flew up into the trees, the entire thing. So really weird stuff is happening as soon as I use tension belts to attach something, and that is definitely new. I mean, back in the FS19 and I think even in the beginning of FS22, although I did not really play much FS22 to this day, so I can't really say. But I mean, stuff attached with a tension belt was attached. I'm not imagining things here, am I? I mean, I'm pretty sure that was the case. So we need to go over here. Yeah, I don't know. It's really weird. If maybe the tension belt fix stuff. I mean, there was something to attach the. No, that's base game FS22, right? The implements are also attached with the tension belts. Just the belts don't go visually over the implements, but the implements are still attached. That's the FS22 thing, not a patch thing, right? I don't know. I mean, there were quite a few tension belt issues in the beginning, especially in multiplayer. We needed the tension belt fix script to even use tension belts in multiplayer, because otherwise stuff, if you saved something with tension belts on or something like that, it would mess up the game, and really weird stuff. But I mean, this is just wrong. I mean, it shouldn't be possible. As soon as that stuff is attached, it should be attached. It should be fixed. It shouldn't be dynamic physics. I mean, is it dynamic? I think kinematic and dynamic collisions have the same color, so it doesn't help. But I mean, in theory, as soon as you attach the tension belts, it should become a static, and or not a static, a kinematic, so it doesn't move on its own. And at that point, it shouldn't have any issues. So I don't know what's wrong here. Funnily enough, now that the tension belts are off, it seems to be better. I mean, the stuff stopped moving and glitching, so I really think there's something wrong with the tension belts, but I'm not sure if it's a mod trailer thing or a patch thing or what's wrong here. So if any of you have any clues as to why this is, because it's kind of frustrating. I mean, I don't know, I shouldn't talk about this because I always do, but I shouldn't have made a 2-week pause with the episodes, and I did, so, well, what do you do? Yeah, it's kind of frustrating. I mean, I'm really I try to play realistic, and that's the play style I'm going for. That's the play style I'm enjoying most, and I can't play unrealistic. I can't do it. I mean, simple things, just using roads and not driving all over the place. I mean, okay, we're talking about this now, and obviously I shouldn't, but we will talk about this now. Okay, that I messed this up too. Since this is kind of the obligatory third episode of a series where I mess up everything, and yes, that's a real thing. I usually do that. I don't know why. So let's talk about this. I mean, Platinum DLC release. I usually do use these releases of big DLCs or expansion packs or something, or even when the game was released, FS22. I usually use that to search for new YouTubers I want to watch, because I actually don't watch any farm sim YouTubers anymore, because I just got bored of the ones I was watching, and I was looking for something new. And usually, if something big is released, people start new series, people start new channels, people start do changes to their series, and in general, I use that to find new channels. And I'm not the only one. A lot of people do. That's how some of you found me here. I usually don't do English stuff, so I use this to start an English series. And I got quite a few nice comments of people who really found my channel just for that, or just because of that. And I'm very happy about that. I'm extremely excited about the possibilities of having English viewers on my channel, and possibly doing a longer English series, or have a English series running on my channel all the time, just on the side, more or less. And I was looking on the analytics, on the YouTube analytics, as to how people found my videos, and the analytics for all the new viewers showed a lot of search results. A lot of people found me or found the video because they searched for FS22 Platinum or FS22 Silverrun or something like that. And that's kind of the thing, that if there's something like that released, people are going to search for new channels and stuff. And again, so do I. So I've been looking into a lot of YouTube channels, and I mean, I found a few that would suit me in terms of editing and video style, or voice. I mean, it's all stuff to consider. I mean, if you have a Let's Player that has a voice that's really annoying to you, I mean, it doesn't mean that it's annoying to anybody, but everybody. But if Let's Player has a voice that for some reason you find just irritating, he might do really great videos, but if the voice is irritating, it might not be the one you want to watch. And yeah, so I found quite a few I would like to watch, but just the playstyle is just not. I mean, it's as I said, or as I was starting this conversation, this one-sided conversation, as we Let's Players usually do. We were talking about simple things like using roads. I mean, I didn't do the best job today of using the roads and stuff, and that's also why I'm not quite happy with that episode, because it's not the thing I wanted to display, and not the thing I wanted to show. With all the bugs and issues going on, it's kind of hard to concentrate on playing realistic and having fun. But yeah, again, simple things like people just drive all over the place. I mean, just taking shortcuts over fields and through the forest and stuff, and not really adhering to any roads and stuff like that, which I just it takes away some of the joy of watching. And I realized that it is extremely difficult to find people who actually play farm sim somewhat realistic. I mean, realism is a very, very complex topic to talk about, because what is realistic? There's people out there who only play on the indoor camera and say, well, outdoor camera isn't realistic. You don't have 360-degree view of your tractor IRL. And that's a very valid point. But then again, third-person games are a thing, because, well, it's a game. You're playing something from the third person. You're directing your own story or movie from an outside perspective. So to me personally, having a third person view and watching the machines, how they move and how they drive and stuff like that, it's part of the fun. I mean, I do enjoy indoor camera, in-cab driving, especially since I got head tracking. And I do a lot of indoor in-cab driving. I didn't in this series so far, but in general I tend to do a lot. But I do also enjoy just looking at the machines from the outside. And for me, there's nothing unrealistic about having the third camera, the third person view. For me, the realism is in how do I drive the machines? How do the machines behave? Do I adhere to somewhat realistic speeds? Do I adhere to somewhat realistic other things and stuff like that? So, yeah, realism is something that everybody has to figure out for himself or herself what realism actually means and what kind of realism or realism level somebody wants to play. But the thing is that I realized that many YouTubers don't seem to play realism at all. So let's see if this now worked. So what I'm trying to say, and it's not a yes please, it's not in any way something negative. I'm not complaining or wanting to down talk to about someone, but it's just a thing I noticed that for me personally, I mean, I have my levels of realism, and other realism players have their levels of realism, but at some point I would say there is no realism. If you adhere to almost none of the realism rules, I mean, it's not really rules. I don't know how to explain what I mean, but I mean, if you just don't adhere to any realism rules in any way, shape or form, I don't think realism is what you're after, and that's perfectly fine. Don't get me wrong, if you enjoy the game just gameplay wise and not if the equipment or, well, how do I say this? I mean, I can't talk about this without talking about different levels of realism. I mean, for me personally, one category of realism is vehicle realism. How do the vehicles look? Are they, well, do they look realistic visually? The next thing is driving realism. Are you driving at somewhat realistic speeds? Are you having somewhat realistic trailer size to your vehicle size? Stuff like that. Obviously, stuff like using indicators when turning and slowing down when turning, even though the farm sim physics don't really necessitate that. Necessitate? I think necessitate would be the correct term. So that is, well, one area of realism, and in those areas of realism, obviously everybody has their own levels of what realistic or what level is realistic enough. I mean, nobody can play 100% realistic, because that would be going outside and driving a real vehicle. So it's still a game, so everybody has somewhat of a level of well, that's close enough. And another realism is obviously the realism gameplay wise. I mean, gameplay wise in terms of field work, doing the steps in the correct order and stuff like that. Maybe using the correct speeds. I mean, farm sim in general allows for about double the speed of regular stuff. I think you can harvest with the combine harvester with, I think, 16 kilometers per hour or something like that in farm sim. And I mean, realistically it would be maybe 8 with a newer combine. So that's a thing, and those are all different levels of realism, and some people only care about one, right? I mean, some people only care about visual realism of the vehicles and don't care about realistic working speeds or anything like that, or otherwise people might care a lot about realistic working speeds and physics and all the influences that come with caring about that stuff, but they don't care about realistic vehicles. They don't care about if the tractor actually looks like the real one, or if the trailer actually fits. And I mean, there's levels of realism in terms of what map do you play, how realistic is the map. There's lots of people out there who don't care about the realism on a map, who don't really need a map to feel realistic, but instead feel utilitarian, or I don't know how to else describe it. A map that just feels like well, has all the necessary stuff and has a few gameplay features that make gameplay interesting, and well, had nothing to do with realism, for example. So that's so many different levels. And what I'm actually trying to get at is, I noticed that most YouTubers I've been finding on YouTube, most Let's Players, don't do any of these. Not one or two or three of the realism categories. None. So they don't want to play realistic in any way, shape, or form. And again, that's perfectly fine, because I mean, it's a game. It's supposed to be enjoyed as a game, and everybody has to make of that whatever it's whatever is the thing that is the most enjoyable. So I'm not trying to judge or anything, but I'm just realizing that we, as players who have somewhat realistic expectations, we are really a very much a minority. And interesting is that I have a feeling that we are more of a minority internationally than in Germany, for example. So how do I turn on tree harvester? That's what I wanted to do. So we need to cut down a few more trees now. Yeah, what I'm trying to say is something that I've noticed is I mean, in first of all, it's a thing of like thinking in a bubble, right? Because in Germany, or in the German-speaking farm sim community, I've been known as somebody who wants to play realistic for many years. So the people around me, the people on my Discord and stuff like that, obviously a lot of realism players are in my farm sim bubble. So for that reason, I might feel like we are more than we actually are. But also looking at YouTubers, German YouTubers and stuff, I have a feeling that a lot of YouTubers don't do extremely realistic gameplay, like adhering to many of the realism categories at once, like adhering to really good visual realism, really good physical realism, really good farming related realism. But many YouTubers adhere to at least one, right? And I found that now that I've looked for more, or how do I say this? I've always looked for international Let's Players, because, well, most German Let's Players I already know, and I'm kind of bored of those, so I was looking for international Let's Players, and that's just the thing I realized, that I didn't find anyone who played any form of realistic gameplay. I mean, I don't know, it's weird, it's really... maybe I'm looking in the wrong area, I don't know. But it's... I'm actually not quite sure where I was going with this whole conversation. Just an observation I made, that for some reason, I feel like internationally, realism gameplay isn't much of a thing on YouTube. Or maybe I did search for FS22 realism and realistic and all of those things, and I didn't really come across anything. And as I've said, I searched for just platinum stuff on itself, and just watched whatever random video I got suggested, in hopes to find some YouTuber that is actually making videos I I enjoy, but so far I didn't find anybody plays even remotely the level of oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 this is bad. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Think. Phew, saved it, kind of at least. Yeah, I was too preoccupied with thinking about realism to actually play in a realistic manner. That's the next thing. If I don't record, which is rarely happening, I mean, I usually play for a Let's Play. I do play a little bit different. I'm often preoccupied when recording video with stuff, so I tend to play less realistic, or I tend to make realism mistakes because of that. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe just maybe Let's Plays just over time play less realistic because that's just the form of the game. I don't know. I mean, one very prominent example would be Daggerwin, of course. I mean, I think everybody knows Daggerwin, and he's obviously back in the day had the catchphrase "realism is key" on his channel, and I mean, with such a catchphrase comes obviously the expectation that there's some realism involved, and at some point she just got sick of realism, I feel like. I don't know. But he just, I have been watching him back in the day, and I've been watching him especially because of the level of realism he was playing at. And just the level of realism reduced. I mean, it just, he played less and less realistic, and people in the comments were complaining about that. And at some point he removed his catchphrase, and he was like, yeah, it's just a game, and can't do everything realistic and stuff like that. And I mean, it didn't hurt his channel at all to do that, but it's kind of sad. And I don't know, maybe it's just a thing that happens over time, but I don't know. I can't play any different. I can't play unrealistically. I mean, some of you would argue that I do. Well, again, talking about different levels of realism. Some would say I play very unrealistic, and at this very moment I kind of do, because I'm really more thinking about what I'm going to say than what I'm going to do here. And forestry is something I'm not really practiced in terms of gameplay, in terms of realism, so there's that as well. But for me personally, the whole enjoyment of farm sim is actually trying to play realistic. Because if I don't do that, there are no rules. And if there are no rules, what's the point in a game? And I mean, for me personally, again, that's not saying something negative about people who play differently. But for me personally, I need restrictions and rules to have fun in the game. And if there are none, there is no point. And this is going to be bad here, I think. Yep, that's quite an issue. For example, let's just say I don't care about roads or anything. I just drive straight line between, I mean, on this map it's a bit difficult because of all the hills and the trees, but on most maps you can just drive a straight line from one point to the next, and you'd be a lot faster, and I could do that. But what's the point in driving if I do that? I mean, I could use AI or crossplay or auto drive or any of those alternatives if I don't want to drive. So what's the point in driving a vehicle if I just, if there's nothing to it? It's boring for me. It's really boring to kind of play outside of those rules. So that's at least for me. So I don't think I will ever get to a point where I would say, yeah, I don't know, realism is kind of annoying. But I feel like a lot of other people are at that point. A lot of YouTubers who do this for a long time, maybe. I don't know. I'm looking for an explanation, but I don't have any. Maybe if you have an explanation, or even better so, if you know a YouTuber in especially, somebody I do not know, but obviously you don't know who I know or who I don't know. But if you do know a YouTuber, especially looking for international YouTubers like English, or international YouTubers like English-speaking YouTubers. I mean, it doesn't matter where they're from, but English-speaking YouTubers in the farm sim community. If you know anybody who does actually play realistic, And again, I mean, there's so many different levels of realism. What is realism? Who knows? Who knows? But I think my explanation of different areas of realism and different levels in those different areas is hopefully enough to convey the point I was trying to make. So obviously, if there would be somebody out there who plays gameplay even more realistic than I do, I would enjoy that. I would really like to watch something like that. But if there would be a Let's Player out there who just does some level of realism, I would enjoy that. I mean, again, it's simple things. It's simple things. And one thing is just, I mean, I go into a video, and first thing I see is people drive max speed around all corners and cutting corners, like not driving here in the middle of the road, but just would drive right here where I'm walking right now. I mean, obviously you could be much faster doing that, but that kind of takes enjoyment out of the game for me personally. And I mean, stuff like that. And I really noticed that even those basic things like adhering to the roads and somewhat realistic road speeds. I mean, you don't have to slow down to like 4 or 5 miles per hour to take a turn. I mean, if you take a turn with 10 miles or 50 miles an hour, it's still fine. And the physics in game are just so removed from realism. I mean, just alone the physics from the ground. You don't have ground shaking, you don't have uneven ground and stuff like that. So you can go full speed on a dirt road, which you wouldn't be able to in real life. So it's kind of a it sounds bad when I say it's excusable, because that's not what I mean, but it's easy to drive faster than realistically possible, because there's just no feedback in the game that you're going that fast. And I myself, I'm going too fast a lot of times. So um, I don't expect absolute realism, but I mean, it's just simple things like slowing down for a corner and stuff like that. And I just noticed that I couldn't find any YouTuber who does even those simple realism things, and obviously much more evolved realism things like not using autoload, for example. I mean, I understand why people use autoload, because, well, this episode was rather frustrating with all the bugs and glitches. Um, and I myself have been thinking about using autoload, but I wouldn't use autoload on camera. I would do it off camera and kind of integrate it in a story, like I turn a camera off and I'm going to load this trailer or something like that. So I would do it for the entertainment value, because at some point there might not be any entertainment value in loading something manually. But on the other hand, I do enjoy it, and if I ever master the controls of the crane and master the physics of farm sim to kind of work around that, and I would enjoy this very much. I mean, back in FS17 and FS19, I had a lot of fun loading bales with a front loader onto trailers, and I did that all the time and made time lapses in my videos and stuff like that. And I was very careful to dance around the physics issues and make it look good. And I had fun doing that, and I think the end result was something I liked. I enjoyed, and I mean, just stuff like that. It's just I'm missing this. I'm really missing watching a YouTuber who does anything close to that. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe you know somebody. I mean, YouTube is huge, and it's impossible to know all the YouTubers. And even if you try and look for a lot of YouTubers, you're going to miss a lot of YouTubers. So I don't know. I mean, one other thing we didn't even really talk about, because I didn't want to introduce myself in the English community as something like that. But my German viewers will know this. Vehicle realism is something that I'm taking very, very seriously, and I've been trying to take it less seriously, and especially on the safe game with stuff like that. I mean, it's obviously a Ford F100 and not a Lizard, but it's a Lizard because of console. And I mean, there's certain things on this truck that aren't close to realistic, but for once I don't know trucks too well to care, and also I don't. As I said, I want to scale back on that, but vehicle realism is something that's very, very important to me, and for a lot of people, it seems not to. Just download whatever they find on the internet and use it just because it's kind of their favorite brand or whatever. Or I don't know. I don't know the how how people select the mods they play, I have no idea. But from looking around, people don't really care about visuals at all, I have a feeling. And yeah, I think it comes across as if I would be complaining, and it comes across as if I would be mocking somebody's playstyle. But I really don't. I think everybody should play the game, however, well they like, and as long as somebody enjoys the game or a mod, it's fine, it's good, it's great, and uh, as I said, everybody can play however they like. I just think it's sad that the amount of realism players um, are so little that within the YouTube space there are basically none. Or maybe I just don't know where they are. I don't know. But yeah, that's basically my whole point. That I'm just kind of disappointed into as to how many new channels I've recently found and been looking through, and how few of those have any sort of realism elements to their gameplay in a game which is called Farming Simulator in the end. And I know that giants themselves aren't really up onto making the game really realistic and simulator like. And I know that a lot of players don't buy the game for as a simulator, but as a just an arcade game to have some fun with. And again, that's totally fine. But I thought there would be at least a few, but there's none, which is yeah, it's weird, kind of weird. And to be honest, I feel a little alone here on the YouTube space trying to do somewhat realistic gameplay. And then again, I'm really trying hard to do somewhat realistic gameplay, and then I run into bugs and stuff which will, well, it's kind of taking the fun out of making videos for me. If I run into bugs that just ruin my level of realism, so there's that also. So maybe all those people who don't care about realism are doing it right and I'm doing it wrong. I don't know. Again, no right, no wrong. However you like to play the game is fine. But yeah, we'll just see if we can keep this series going. If we can keep the series going on a realistic level, I hope. And if we can increase the level of realism, that would be my goal. The stuff I displayed so far isn't the level of realism I actually like to play. And yeah, if you have any suggestions as to who else might be doing somewhat realistic gameplay in the international YouTube space, I would really love to hear from you about them, because I'm still looking to find some new Let's Players I could enjoy and watch, because well, back in the day I really enjoyed watching Let's Plays, and one of the main reasons why I got into Let's Playing is because I watched a lot of Let's Players, and lately I really got bored of the ones I've been watching, and I had a hard time finding new ones, unfortunately. Anyways, to make a very long story short, where are you, realism Let's Players? Are any of you out there, maybe? And also, am I the only one? As I said, I feel a bit lonely here. And now you can, of course, go in the comment section and bash about my realism and tell me how unrealistic I play and how I shouldn't be the one talking about realism and stuff like that, and that's fine. Or whatever. As long as you comment something, I'm happy. Yeah, I guess thanks for watching. This episode isn't at all what I wanted it to be, but it's what it is, and generally that's kind of happens a lot with my episodes, and I'm still having fun, and I hope you are. And I'm sorry for the long wait. I hope that the next episode will be sooner. And with that sentence, I would say thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Until next time, goodbye.